I'm Aisling Franciosi and I play Ella Blake in stop motion, and we're out here in 3 Mills Studios. When I read the script, I instantly said to my agent, this is completely bonkers, but I think bonkers in a good way. I hadn't seen anything before that combined stop motion animation and live action, certainly not in this way anyway. And I thought it would be a great challenge to play Ella and follow her in her journey as she kind of descends into a kind of madness, I suppose, in her quest to find her creative voice. And I had seen some of Rob's work and I just thought he did a great job at doing disturbing, fascinating stop motion animation. So I thought, okay, I'm into this. It's different, feels fresh and fun too. I think a lot of people would describe this film as a psychological horror, but I think it's more than that. It's kind of got a magical quality to it in a sense because of the stop motion animation. There's something so unsettling but also enchanting about it, which makes for a good background for, you know, some of the more horrific scenes that we have. I don't actually think Ella is an ambivalent character. I think she's someone who, rather than being someone who's finding her voice as we go along the story with her, it's actually someone who, she knows who she is. She does have a creative voice, but she has been in many ways stifled and oppressed by her mother and their work and her mother's work. And so it's more like a pressure cooker. So she's been very submissive because that's been the easiest way to navigate her relationship at home with her mother. But she actually does have a very strong personality and voice, but it's just been controlled into submission, I guess. So I feel like we have there's a simmering anger underneath that kind of comes to a head, basically. Working with Rob has been really great and actually a very pleasant surprise. I had a tiny moment of worry when I thought, this is a man who's used to being able to literally control every single movement of his characters in past work, and given that this is his first time directing actors, I was a little bit trepidatious about that, but he's been fantastic, really lets me do my own thing, only kind of has notes when he feels they're really necessary, and I feel like he really respects the work that I'm doing, and it's mutual, so it's a really good working relationship actually, and he's fun. It's so amazing to see him enjoy what's happening on set as well, and hearing him sometimes giggle at the monitor and stuff when things are surprisingly funny, given that it's quite a scary script. So no, it's actually been such a pleasure. I actually love working with first-time writer-directors, and obviously having written on it too, it gives him a very clear vision, a clear sense of what he wants. And I always prefer acting in that way. I like acting when I know that we have a very specific goal and vision that we're trying to achieve. So it's been refreshingly straightforward, actually. Getting to work where I live is a first, so that's been nice to be able to go home at night and sleep in my own bed. But it's been fun working at 3 Mills. The crew and the other cast are so lovely. And it's been interesting seeing some of the stop motion animation happening at the same time. It kind of gives us a sense of how the film is going to turn out, so that's always really exciting. It's kind of like the carrot to keep you going. British independent film and indie film, generally speaking, is actually where my passion lies. I think usually that's where the most interesting stories are, and the ones that are actually brave enough to say something and do something because they don't have to pander to, you know, maybe studio heads or the big audiences that they're craving. So I find that they usually have the more unique storylines, and for me, they're why I like doing what I do.
狂気に満ちた人形が動き出す。映画監督を目指すエラ。
We need to do it again.
そこに現れた謎の少女。
It's called stop motion animation.
I know a better story. The Ashman comes in 3 nights. She tries to hide, but on the first night, he sees her.
It's not real.
Stop motion アニメと 現実が融合した新たなる恐怖。
What happens on the third night?
ストップモーション。